Now, for the last part of this episode, I'm going to be responding to any questions on my YouTube and Twitter. Now, I'm going to be doing this because I am the smartest, so any question you ask will get a good answer. So, any questions left on my Twitter or my YouTube comments, I will take some time to respond to once a week, probably between the Thursday and Saturday episodes. But let's just get on to the first one. This one is from Reed and Bede. So, I think it's pretty stupid that players start out getting barely any of the vote, and then by the last year on the ballot get 75%. So I hope Reed knows that first part isn't a question. Hopefully this next part is. It looks like it. What is the difference between being inducted in the second year or the 10th year? Interested to hear your thoughts. Thanks, Reed. I'm interested to hear any further questions you might have in the future. What I would say about this is that to me, first of all, there's no real difference between being inducted what year. I don't really think it matters, because once you're in, it's once you're in. But I do believe the bottom percentage of 5% to stay on the ballot is too little. So I believe that's what he's saying. So what I would say about that is I believe the bottom percentage to stay on the ballot should be more between 20 to 25% of the ballot. Now, I would say this because many people only vote for some of these people getting 5% to keep them on the ballot. And then eventually we'll figure out if we really think he's a Hall of Famer. Like, for example, year 7, oh, this guy's running out of time. We need to start deciding if this guy is actually a Hall of Famer. And then that's why they get these huge spike in votes later on. Now, if they were racist to the 2025, I think this would be very beneficial for a few reasons. First off, it would clear out a lot of the players off the ballot. So that means a lot more players come off the ballot. That means a lot less people to pick between, and that means it's a lot easier for the writers to vote for people that they actually think deserve to stay on and be inducted. Another thing I should say here is I don't think voters should vote for stay-ons. I just think they should vote for who they deserve to be in. That means if you somehow think there are 11, you should vote for the 10 best. And if you think only 6 deserve, you shouldn't vote for 10 just to fill out the ballot and keep some people on. I think that's a waste, and it kind of screws over a lot of people that actually deserve it. Vote for who you really think is a Hall of Famer and who deserves it the most. Now, that was a really great question, and I hope that though what I said makes sense. So my final thoughts is what I'll say is the minimum needs to be higher up. That way it's a lot easier for the voters to vote, and that way it just is a lot simpler. Okay, so this next question is from Jake Bronson of Lowe's. Hope you're enjoying Lowe's, Jake. Who is more deserving of a Hall of Fame spot? Barry Bonds or Roger Clemens? This is another great question, also pertaining to the Hall of Fame. So, obviously these are two of the best players ever. And the simple answer would be, well, both of them really deserve it no matter what, but that's too simple. So what I'm going to say is I believe Barry Bonds actually deserves it more, and this is the reason. So obviously we all know about the home run records and everything, but that's not what I'm going to be talking about. The argument a lot of people make about why Bonds should be in the Hall of Fame currently is that he had a Hall of Fame career about before anyone even suspected he was taking steroids. Because we all know with the Pirates, he was super skinny, and then he got way more muscular with the Giants. But everyone thought he was a Hall of Famer before he got all big and muscular. Now with Clemens, obviously I think he's a Hall of Famer. But we can't say for sure when he started taking steroids. I mean, it's tough to say because his numbers were always insane throughout his career. But it's just, I think we know a little bit more about Bonds, and we all think he had a Hall of Fame career before the steroids. So for that reason, I would say Barry Bonds is that tiny bit more deserving of a Hall of Fame spot. However, it's important to I think both of them will get in next year. Our next question is from, let's take a look and see. Okay, this is from Spencer at Mims_SCZN, Mims season. Looks like a Jets fan, that's bad news, but Anyway, a lot of teams in the AL East are adding a lot of good pieces. That's true. What do you think the standings are going to look like come September? Great question, Spencer. So, I would say we got 5 teams in the AL East, and all of them have made additions. So let's just go through them really quick. The Yankees have brought in Kluber, Darren O'Day, brought back DJ, and have signed Jameson Taillon. Rays haven't really done much, but they've lost Snell. Red Sox have brought in Kiki Hernandez. Who else have they brought in? They brought in Ottavino, obviously, from the Yankees. They've brought in... Come on, Adam. And they've brought in... Besides the point, Blue Jays obviously have brought in Springer, in addition to they just brought in Matz as well, which I don't love the move, but it makes sense. They've also brought in Yates and Tyler Chatwood. And the Orioles have brought in probably the best player of the group, Freddie Galvis. But what I'll have to say here is that I would currently predict the standings would go Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays, Red Sox, and Orioles. So what I'll say is that I think the Yankees are just, even though Rays were better in the playoffs, the Yankees are kind of built more for the regular season, where the Rays use their pitchers in such a way in the playoffs that it's not something you would typically see in the regular season. And also the Yankees, while I don't think the moves of Taillon or Kluber are as safe as Tanaka, there's certainly moves to at least fill out the rotation as long as they are healthy. So I'd put them first, and I'd follow with the Rays just because even though they've lost Snell, I still think there's and Morton, but I still think they're going to make moves and be that team we expect them to be, with a good offense and lots of unknown great pitchers in the bullpen to get them through. 3, I have the Blue Jays. The addition of Springer really pushed them here, but I'm not there. So what I'll say is the Yankees and Rays will both be playoff teams, and the Blue Jays will only be one if we have the expanded playoffs. Then we have the Red Sox, number 4. I think they made some good additions, but I just think without guaranteed healthy seasons from Eduardo Rodriguez or Chris Sale, I can't say for certainty that they're a playoff team. And then Orioles 5, even with the addition of Freddie Galvis, who's going to carry their team, there's just no one around him. So, yeah, that's what I got. I've got the Yankees, Rays, Blue Jays, Red Sox, Orioles. And our last question is, will the Yankees add any more? Actually, an interesting question considering the Tanaka news today. Because of the Tanaka news today, I'm going to say no, maybe outside other than the minor league deals that always get signed. But the only other big sign I would have seen them making is Tanaka. But with him going overseas, back home, I don't see that happening. While it is certainly possible, since I believe they have a little bit of cap remaining, I don't expect them to go out and make a really big move, quite frankly. So yeah, that's our first segment of asking questions. I hope everyone enjoyed. Make sure to keep listening to the pod, and thank you all for the support.